Every Day a Better You, a podcast that's not about being better than the person next to you, but being better than the version of yourself a day prior. Your host, Fareed Johnson, accompanied by my co-host, Henri.
Hello, everyone. This is Henri. A lot of people know me as Boo. Every Day a Better You.
Welcome back to another episode of Every Day a Better You. We are on episode number 16. My name is Flip. This is my co-host.
What's going on? It's Boo. How's everybody doing today?
Boo, we're doing great. We have a really dope guest. I want to introduce her before we get into the gym of the week. I know that's not how we typically do it, but she's pretty fire. So let's
spice it up a little bit.
Let's introduce. This is our new friend, Kereen Evans.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Nah, we're lucky to have you. You know, we would end up our show and we see her all the time.
Coming in.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, she looks like interesting. Like, Claudia, what's her show about? Right? Like how we get her on. You know what I mean? And especially like, you know, I look a certain way, you look a certain way, she looks a certain way. Why not, right?
Family.
But before we get into our new best friend, Kereen, let's wrap up. We had a gym of the week, which we had a gym with Jim. You like that?
Here we go.
You like that, right? I mean, you had it the last time with the Dr. Seuss words.
I had a few.
You inspired me.
I had a few. Aspire to inspire.
You aspire to inspire, right? Like, come on, man. You got a good play on words right there, bro. You need to put that in the book. I'm going to put that in my book. Okay. I'm going to steal it. Copyright. You better copyright it because I'm just going to steal it.
So what was it? What was the
it was defining your why.
Okay.
Right? So now, Boo, I've done many presentations, professional developments on defining your why. You know, Simon.
You fancy. You one of them fancy guys.
Like
one of them big time fancy
Simon,
guys.
Simon Sinek, he's the why guy, right? Yeah. And you know, it started with business, right? Like he'd go around and like helping big businesses thrive. And he said they thrive because the way you present your why. He used this like example with Apple. Reason why people love Apple, it's not because of what they make. That's not what it's all about. It's about why they do it and the intention behind what they do, right? So for me, you know, my intention, I wear it every day. My little sister, she's basically my why. She embodies everything, right? The reason why I work so hard, my drive. Anything that I do with kids, I got into teaching because of her, special education. She was a special ed student, right? So she's the driving force, which is why my educational journey, you know, people look at things like, this is just a job for me, right? You know, I'll come in, don't bring work home with you, but it's always going to be brought home with me because I need to get a school running that's worthy of her being in.
Right, I understand.
I need to make enough money to get out of the hood, right? Yeah, I'm not in the hood anymore, but
those days are a little behind us.
That mentality though, because we used to sit in Yonkers, 321 Warburn, like, yo, if I ever see you on the street, I'm gonna punch you in your face, right? That's what, and she would say the same thing to me, and then it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna make it big enough where you never have to work, because she was also my best friend. So I was like, I'm gonna make it big enough so you never have to work, right? When I have kids, you can just like hang out with the kids. You live with me. You don't have to worry about nothing. So I live life like I'm still doing that for her. So it's like, you know, I don't want to quote Diddy, but I used to always say, can't stop, won't stop, right?
You don't get us in trouble.
But that's what it is. That's the only thing I can think about. I'm not trying, you know, I'm not trying to quote that, but it really is. Like I can't stop and I won't stop. No matter how. Yo, stop looking like that. But that's what it is. What about you, man?
My why is a little more simpler.
Okay.
Right? Growing up a certain way, mentors, coaches were always a big deal to me, especially at that point in my life where I could have went either way. You know, so I try to give back and mentor kids, coach them, be their psychologist, you know, wear a lot of hats.
Bro, and
so
I'm not,
you know, that's my why.
I'm not just saying this because you're my brother. I've seen you in the gym because we work out a lot together. And I've seen you in the gym go up to somebody that you don't know like that and like really try to like start talking about some other stuff.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself, bro, what? Like, how you know this man?
Because here's the thing. Whatever the activity is, that's just the avenue.
Right.
Right? Whether it be basketball, we in the gym, that's just the avenue. Now you got to use that to touch their lives in some way, shape, or form. You know? So
damn, bro, you gonna make me
try
cry, bro. You gonna make me cry out
so
here.
dope.
play it forward, you know?
Nah,
I try to.
respect.
Thank you.
Kereen, I know,
Yes.
this is,
Miss Kereen.
talk to us about your why a little bit.
I mean, some of that really resonates with me, what Boo said, because there was always like this burning thing inside of me. I didn't know it manifested. It manifested itself in very different professions and activities and things I was doing. But the why was really about a desire in me to help and to it always felt very selfish of me to keep whatever I had, whatever little knowledge or talents or whatever it is I had within me, to kind of keep that to myself. There's always someone whose life you can touch in some way. And for me, one of the things that came very innate for me, and I realize is what kind of drives everything, is my connection with people. I love connecting with people. And that sort of have been a driving force, in everything that I've done. Hence the Kereen Connection. It's the why to inspire, the why to always touch a life, and always sort of like breaking it down to like the very basic human level of just being able to communicate with people and reach someone on a very basic human level. Like, take away the race, take away the age, take away all, job, take away the hierarchy that life kind of,
the title or whatever,
entitlements, being able to get someone being able to reach someone in some way and have an impact is definitely what fulfills me. And that's a big part of my why. It's just that driving desire within me.
Boo. She's been around us somewhere. She's been hearing us talk, bro.
Totally. Like, you guys resonate with me so much.
But what you just articulated, those are things that we talk about. I mean, like I said, I've known this man for years on years on years. And these are things that we just have random conversations about, like everything you said.
Without the cameras.
Right. Like wanting to share things with people because someone's past and someone's struggle and something that you overcome, that can touch someone in a way that you have no idea. So why keep it to yourself?
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is just have people think that they are better than other people. I hate that, I'm not to use the word hate, but, you can learn something from everyone, a child, an elderly person, the homeless man on the bridge, and I heard you say that too in one of the episodes. You're like, you could be smart in one area and stupid in another. You can't be, because you're...
There's no such thing as knowing. Is that not human nature? You know what I mean? Like,
you're always learning. There's always something to learn, and there's always room to grow. And so I always sort of approach life that way. And when I interact with someone, try to come from like a blank slate. I give everybody a blank slate. And it sort of put you somewhat in a vulnerable position sometimes, because sometimes people do things and you're like, okay, and you're like, okay, I don't necessarily want to interact with that energy or that person so much anymore given what they've done, but you get a blank slate, and I always give them an opportunity to show me who they are. But yeah, you always can learn something from someone.
Right. And now how long do they have, right? So I tell people all the time, especially in my field of work, right? And I talk to my teachers, I talk to my parents, and I talk to kids about exactly that. So in a school, it's like I talk about how, all right, I'm the leader of the school, but custodians, teaching assistants, monitors, they better be treated the same way.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
When I talk to kids, teachers, I was like, listen, you have one time to break my trust, and then I'll look at you different.
It's one time for me.
One time for you too. What about you, Boo?
Half.
Seriously.
Because
it's hard and it's hurtful when you really come from a pure place. And so when you see someone that you can really take advantage of that, knowing that you're coming from a pure place, it kind of makes you kind of think twice, right? Because like, what would be the objective?
But at the same time, it's human nature, right?
It is human nature.
Judas,
Right. I mean, you can't forgive. maybe not so much forget, but you can forgive.
It's hard.
It's hard though. It really is.
It's hard for me to forgive. What I've learned is before I get to the place of forgiveness, so I try to be proactive and not reactive, right? So proactively, I say to myself, my expectations for people have lowered, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's the only way that sometimes I can protect myself.
Yeah. I don't want to say that, because if you to go in saying that my expectation is lowered is sort of not giving them a blank slate.
that's wrong from the start. I think so.
I mean, I didn't say it was right, guys. I'm just telling you.
Because it's sort of like letting your own preconceived whatever kind of
100%.
like deflect on other people.
100%. But for me, it's like, all right, don't expect them to be great at like. Actually, it's like don't expect them to think like you, right? Because that's my problem. I used to expect people to think like me,
100%.
And then so now when it's good, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pleasantly surprised, rather than being let down when it's not great.
But that's why you got to go in with no expectations, none.
You remember Mad TV? Lowered
Yes.
expectations.
So you got to go in with no type of expectations.
Yeah.
Everything else is a plus, if it's a plus.
Right.
But that's a hard thing to do.
I mean, there is something to, people will disappoint you because people are
human
people.
nature.
Yeah.
People are
And this is why I always say I hate people. I know.
Where you gonna live? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna?
I don't know, but people be pissing me off, man.
Man, I love my dog.
Yeah, I got my dog and my lizards.
It's so funny because now having a pet, and I'm Jamaican, so like owning a dog is like different. I can't bring my dog to any of my family members' house. Like that's not a thing.
They usually didn't come in the house.
Right. They don't even want to come.
They usually didn't come in the house. That's different.
But it's so pure. Like they're so true to who they are and they love you so unconditionally and they just don't disappoint you, as much as people do.
Bite your sneaker or pee on the floor. That's when they disappoint
And that's really
me.
your fault because you left it there,
So a famous rapper who passed away a few years ago, DMX, that was his point
Boomer,
about
bro.
loving dogs.
Yeah, I know.
Dogs don't disappoint you. I give a dog a slice of bologna.
Yep.
And he's my friend for the whole,
I walked that dog.
Yeah.
Boomer. That's a whole nother story. I get into that. That was crazy.
So let's get into Miss Kereen.
So Kereen.
Yes.
So Kereen is a lawyer for the New York City Department of Education, and it's so funny that like she's on the show right now, especially with the stuff that just it's all public now.
Why didn't you use her though?
I didn't know her.
I couldn't have done it. It would have been a conflict anyway.
I don't know, man.
You
I wish I knew somebody with that. All of the knowledge that you have, because I'm telling you right now, like you've seen it. So if I'm being real, right? As I said, I'm a candid person as much as I can be. I might flash it.
Article.
There's an article that just came out about me, about everything, about me leaving Pelham, right? And not to get in it too much, but it's like, people just leave me alone. Like I'm trying to let things die, right? But what I will say is like. My close people know what went down and things that you read and hear, right? Because then you start reading like Facebook comments because now your name is back. So they're in Pelham, right? And let's talk about parents, right? Because I'm not going to talk about the teachers of the district.
Oh, yeah.
There are people when I first got hired that they didn't want me there in the first place.
Oh,
right?
totally.
They didn't want me there in the first place.
Right.
But I feel like that goes back to what we were just talking about. People are going to be people.
Right. So but what
even in those comments, if you read or whatever,
right?
How can you not believe that people are going to say those things?
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I
coming.
believe that they're going to say those things.
Hired. That stuff is coming.
When I saw that, and some of these people, I know, like I had their kids and did right by their kids, right? So
that's
like,
the hurtful part.
They're saying these things, but it's like they want to latch on because they think they know something that happened.
That's how it goes.
It's always easier to accept the negative,
That's how it goes.
I saw one, and I'll give him this. It was funny.
So you knew the parent,
bro,
and he was still talking.
Yeah, because I call them email gangsters.
Oh
right?
yeah.
They hide behind the
That's
screen.
The society
like,
we're in.
Nobody wants any smoke to my face. No one's gonna come to me and say anything to my face.
That's how it is now.
But this one guy, I had to laugh.
Why?
He said, "Oh, looks like you got the bang and the buck."
No.
bro, this is all out there, right?
That's pretty clever. That was a good one. You gotta laugh at him.
I gotta laugh at him. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
was a
that's
good one,
funny.
though.
But if I see you somewhere, like, it might not be that funny for you. You know what I mean?
No, don't even do that. For why? You lose either way. All
not-
you're gonna do is call the police.
No, I'm just saying I want to have a conversation.
No.
Leave it alone.
But, and the
wanna
thing
talk
about it is
Just
like,
read it just like that and leave it alone.
and for people like that, like once they have that perception of you, there's nothing
Nothing
you can do.
say or
So it's
to
like,
change that.
so the situation, whatever happened, but now you got people latching on to something that they don't know what they're talking
Well, that's
about,
how-
and
that's how
that's
it
the thing
goes.
that burns me up, right? Because you don't know, right? But I'm here to say things that you read, things that you hear. If you want to know like the truth, just come talk to me.
to the source.
That's it. Because all of this nonsense, but it's just so timely that I'm sitting here with a powerful attorney.
So speaking of powerful,
Just gonna look at the camera
because he'll go on. And he'll
Yeah,
go
I'm just
on
gonna
and
look
on
at the- I'm just gonna
about
look at the camera.
situation. Let him keep looking at the
because
camera.
you know who I'm talking to.
So speaking of attorney, give us a little of your background.
Yeah.
Were you born in the
Yeah.
States or were
Yeah.
you born in Jamaica?
I was
How does that
actually
work?
born in Jamaica. I migrated here when I was 11. I talked about this on one of my episodes. Me and my two sisters. I have three sisters, but
Who's the oldest?
I'm the second oldest.
Middle?
I'm the
Okay.
second of four
Oh,
girls.
All girls? Yeah, I have three
All
girls, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And my eldest sister was already migrated here before us, but me and my three sisters were kind of left behind. And stayed with my grandmother until the kind of immigrant way, your mom leaves
classic,
to go
classic.
find
Right.
make a way for
Yeah,
you,
classic,
and
yep,
then
yep.
send for you when the time
Yep, yep.
comes. And it's so funny because, we end up, me and my sisters, when I got left back in Jamaica, we end up getting separated because all three of us couldn't go to one family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was too
Expensive,
much.
very expensive,
very
yeah.
expensive. So me and my youngest sister went to one family, and my other sister that follows me, Charlene, went to stay with my aunt and my cousins.
Did you know the other family? Was it?
No, I was just told that she was my godmother.
Yep,
it was
yep.
god awful.
Yeah.
It's like that evil stepmother,
Yep.
godmother sort of situation. So, had to get some grit from that experience and had
Yeah.
to take care of my little sister during that experience. But that was short-lived. Maybe it didn't feel so short at the time. We stayed in that situation for a year until there was it was told that there was like a trip to Disney World that we were going to go to. And we went to Disney World, and that Disney World was sort of like our entry into the country. And we basically here until we got naturalized. So I went through the school system here from 11 years old up until ultimately graduating from law school and so forth.
And where was school? Where did you live?
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Yeah,
What
I'm a
part?
Bronx chick. I grew up I moved around quite a bit, single mom of 4 kids, but I moved around quite a bit in the Bronx. But for the most part of my life in Burke Avenue off of White Plains Road.
Oh, they call that Little Kingston. I know.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of-
So I felt very at home.
Yeah,
White
yeah.
Plains
Jamaica,
Road.
what part of Jamaica are you
Portland.
from? You're from Portland? And
Yeah.
what part of Jamaica are you
St.
from?
Catherine, guys.
St. Catherine.
My people,
Okay.
Yeah.
Country.
So those are my humble beginnings. And then, of course, I was very not shy, but you kind of come here with a thick Jamaican accent and you're like ridiculed and you don't want to speak. So my middle school experience was sort of brutal. And so when I was going to high school, I was just like, nah, I'm not doing this again. So I was like, I'm going to join the debate team and be very intentional about speech.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And through joining the debate team, my debate coach at the time, my AP social study teacher was actually a debate coach. And he was like,
Oh, you took AP classes?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
come on, bro. She's
Oh, God.
yo, man.
She's one of those.
Ah,
I'm on the debate team. I take AP courses.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
God.
I joined the debate team, and through doing those, it kind of built such a confidence in me and instilled such a presence in me
Yeah.
to be able to feel confident to walk
Yeah.
into a room and open my mouth and speak. And he saw talent in me. He's like, oh, Kereen, you should consider law school. And, ultimately was a captain of debate team, won a few awards. So that was felt really good to to something that you kind of overcome a fear of speech.
Yeah.
And for that to kind of be like your superpower. And then like you're, debating against these all white schools
Yeah,
in Westchester.
yeah.
And they're like
Yeah.
very privileged kids. And here
Yeah.
I am from Dewey Clinton High School
That's
in
right,
the Bronx,
that's right,
yeah.
beating
Dope.
them and winning awards. So that definitely was a confidence booster for me. And then when he mentioned law school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. To go back to what we were talking about in thinking about what I wanted to do as a career, I was like, oh man, I really love kids. You know, that whole idea of wanting to inspire. I was like, okay, maybe I can be a teacher. But then I was just like, yeah, I don't think I have the disposition and the capacity for that. So I was just like, no. And then when he mentioned laws, I was like, okay, well, I didn't really have anything else in mind. So I was like, I'll do that. So I went off to college and studied political science because I thought that was the way to go. I regretted that. I hated poli-sci. If I had my way, if I could go back in time, I'd probably do like psychology or philosophy because I was actually really good at that.
Where'd you do your undergrad?
SUNY Albany.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
she might know AJ.
Yeah.
Well, one of our good friends played basketball at Albany.
Okay. Yeah. So I did that, and then I, went off to go to Brooklyn Law School, and then ultimately I started my career as a prosecutor in Manhattan. So I was there for about 6 years.
So let's just talk the prosecution.
Yes.
What is your job as a prosecutor?
Yeah. I'm really to enforce the law, right, through the use of the courts.
Right.
So it's holding people accountable, but really it's appealed to me because it was like that sense of like fairness and justice. And but more than that, what it actually did for me was to be able to put me in a room with people who had so much power unknowingly to affect people's lives and lives more that looked like mine, but didn't really have much perspective or context or texture. So it's like to be to be in those rooms where you kind of were able to give perspective was very eye-opening for me.
You had a seat at the table.
Got a seat at the table. So like, you kind of get to see where, a poor kid that's like 16 years old have like 5 convictions already for misdemeanor trespass that's, punishable up to 1 year in jail for jumping the turnstile to get to school.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? Back in the day, now it's a civil fine. It's no longer criminal.
But back then it was.
But then people were just racking up criminal records just by, and a misdemeanor prevents you from getting, financial aid for college. I mean, the ripple effects of it is like so damning.
And that's what we talk about sometimes, like
and people have no idea about that stuff.
The systemic racism that happens, and why certain people that look a certain way can't get things now. It's like because of everything that's embedded.
Totally. And, just going back, I even watched your first episodes, because I am a fan. I watched your first episode and, you were talking about how you used to steal out of necessity back in the day. And a lot of the crimes that were coming in were like literally petty crimes. Like people are literally stealing food. And getting charged with grand larceny and petty larceny. And it adds up. And now you're looking at a rap sheet that's this high. And then when another infraction comes, now they're looking for, jail, like serious jail time. You're going to state's prison. Because of all the previous convictions. And then able to see the flip side of that where you have like these privileged kids coming in that have no reason at all. That's going into Macy's and stealing a bag, and then the private attorney that comes in sitting in the office in a nice blue suit and it's like, don't ruin his life, and then walk away with an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal, which is basically nothing, no record, and a seal, and it's sealed after 6 months. And you're kind of like, this person who had zero opportunity, zero chance, zero, the mom is on drugs and, they're fending for their sisters and they're stealing food and they're jumping the turnstile because, MetroCard only gives them 2-way to go to and from school. Meanwhile, they may have to pick up a sibling or, there's so many circumstances that lead to these things where they're just being yoked up and, cuffs on and now a criminal conviction. And then how do you apply for college now? You have to now to say that you have convictions on your record. So it's so embedded, like you said, in the system. But to be able to see it on both sides, you're like, to be able to be in the room and say, no, this person had it all. And they made those choices when they didn't have to. That should be looked at more sternly than the person who lives in a crack house.
Exactly.
That, that's just jumping the turnstile to get to school. So being able to provide those those contexts in those rooms, was very eye-opening. Because
what you're saying reminds me of, so in my world, right, I try to do a lot of work with bias, right? Because there are biases that people have that they don't even know they have. So I'll give you an example.
Give us an example.
There are times where, you have a student of color, right, that does something wrong. Let's say, and this is like a real example. Like this happened. So student of color out at recess, says something to another student, right? Like curses or whatever, gets brought to my office. Like, why is he here? And oh well, he said X, Y, and Z, right? He needs to be and they always get so hyped up. He needs to be the.
Suspensions.
I'm like, all right. So yeah, I was like, all right, can you leave? Let me take care of this, right? I'll take care of it, whatever. Same lunch person comes to me with a student that is not of color. Same kind of thing. Said something, to another student that wasn't nice, but she didn't really mean it. But I know,
Yes.
But just a week ago, you came here with someone else, and you were like, suspend this, that, and a third, and it's like, people know what they know. Sometimes they don't even know that I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they don't know they have that bias. A lot of times they do. So in your world, do you do work around that? Like bias, especially in the lawyer realm.
Honestly,
do you see them? I'm pretty sure you see the.
I see it, but it's like you can help on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And I can't touch all the cases.
Right.
And that was one of the frustrations that I had in even sort of like leaving that space and even going to like the Department of Education thereafter. I just felt like I had more of an opportunity to touch, more lives. Like if I'm affecting sort of like policy or something like that. In the educational realm. But even that, the space that I was in when I initially went over into the DOE was sort of like still on the prosecutorial side of things. I was sort of prosecuting teachers for misconducts and wrongdoings. And, you kind of get some sense of relief in getting bad teachers out of the classroom, like the ones that really need to get out of the classroom that's really doing more harm than good. And even that was a difficult feat because, it's very difficult to get someone any real consequence. The union is just really powerful. So, even in that realm too, it's just like everything was just sort of like only what my hands could touch, right? And that's sort of like kind of what prompted me to start the Kereen Connection. Because now through this forum, anyone who listens to me can gain something. It's not just like the case. It's not just the client who I'm helping or the case that I'm touching or the teacher that I'm trying to get removed, and even the space that I'm in now with the DOE, I'm legal counsel. I'm one of 2 legal counsels to all of Manhattan school districts and the superintendent that governs them. So I deal with all of...
joke is what she's saying. Humbly. Is what she's saying.
But but I get to I get to have I get to affect policy on a wider scale because I'm talking to the superintendent that's kind of turnkeying down the information and the policies. I get to affect the whole school and their policy as opposed to just one student and one family. I do that, on an individual basis still, but it's the ripple effect of it is sort of creating policy. So that's why I sort of love more what I do. And then now entering the space of the Kereen Connection, we're still sort of trying to have like a broader platform to be able to help more people just by virtue of telling what I know,
So you're just in Manhattan? You're not in all the boroughs?
Actually I am in multiple boroughs because one of the superintendents I supervise does high school throughout the cities. So for the 4 superintendents and those schools that I supervise, they're predominantly Manhattan, but then that one high school superintendent have schools all over the city. So I definitely touch all boroughs as well.
So talk to us about the transition from being in Manhattan to going over to the school system. Was there one particular thing that made you transition into it? Or?
Well, actually, it was that what I mentioned, but also, I started having children. And at the time, 6 years into the Manhattan DA's office, I was sort of heading into more of like a senior level. So that was kind of getting on like the homicide track. And, to be on homicide call when I was now having young children is sort of hard. Like, 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a shooting in Harlem and somebody's killed. I have to get up out of my bed to go meet the detectives, And so that was going to be a little bit more strained. And it was not an easy decision. I really did love what I did at the prosecutor's office. It's one of the best jobs I've ever had. I can definitely say that. And I think one of the reasons in talking about making the connections, one of the things I in looking back and making the connections and the decisions you make and trying to find the why is really one of the things I really enjoyed was juries. I really love connecting with the juries. I love litigation. I love, getting my point across and winning. But, being able to speak to the juries, that was like the best part of my job, having to do voir dire and connect with the juries and being able to change their minds and offer them a perspective and let them see it my way. That's what I loved, but why I left that job was because it was becoming too demanding for the life now that I was creating and having children. So Department of Education was sort of like the pace that was going to like more fit my lifestyle. And it was is still a beauty. I'm still here because of the flexibility it offers, it kind of the holidays with the kids' schedule sort of coincide. So it kind of works out beautifully in that. And I still get to get my why across as well.
How many kids do you have?
2.
Nice.
14-year-old boy that's now entering high school. That's a freshman in high school, and my daughter is a freshman in middle school.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 11.
Yeah. I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and then a crazy 7-year-old.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
And all girls, so he's getting it all back. Shit, he used to
Yeah.
He's getting it all back.
Yeah, my mom had 4 girls, and she wanted a boy from the first one.
Oh,
So when she had my last sister, her name was about to be Maurice, regardless of whether or not it was a boy or girl. But thankfully, she named her Renee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned the Kereen Connection, right?
Yes.
So tell everyone how did that come about? And like talk about the premise of your show.
Yeah. So the premise of the show was sort of like looking back through all of my, varied experiences and trying to find the connection through all of them. And the connection that the connections that I thought was driving each decision to do the job really came down to the basic concept of just wanting to connect with people. On a very basic level, in connecting with people, you can change minds, you can change perspectives, you can reach someone, you can help someone, you can inspire someone. And so the Kereen Connection in connecting your passions to purpose, which is what I essentially am doing, I wanted to be able to help my viewers to be able to do that. And so my first 10 episodes, I was very intentional, was just me talking about my life and how I connected those dots, right? And so, hoping that my viewers can go, going through my journey, can start to really put some intentional thought into how to connect the dots to find their why and to find their purpose. Because I really do feel as though in order to, in the end, to feel that sense of fulfillment, that you really had some impact. Forget legacy and what you were doing for yourself individually and what, for my children, what impact did you leave on this planet? We're all here for a reason. And to be able to find what your specific, individualized, authentic reason is your core purpose here on this planet. And to leave not having found that would be a shame, And so one of my episodes was talking about just being your authentic you and how important it is to just be your authentic you, because especially living now, in social media and just kind of mirroring people and wanting to have what other people have, you lose your sense of individuality, but your sense of individuality is what make you, and one of the prime examples that she's popular and hot now is Cardi B. I love her because she's thriving just by being who her innate personality, who she is.
And we talk about her all the time, and what we do like about her, like you said, she's her, and she's letting people know, just because I don't sound like you, I don't look like you, doesn't mean I'm less than you.
Oh my goodness.
Case in point.
Just even when going back to the last presidential debate and they had Cardi B talking about politics, even that's how influential her reach is.
Yeah.
And she's not well learned in terms of politics. She's a smart girl, but in terms of how she speak and what people expect from someone who would be like, on CNN and Fox News or whatever, she doesn't reflect that.
Right.
But her influence, the influence that she has, oh my God,
really
by virtue of just being who she is. And I'm a big believer in that. And I've always tried to be that. I don't walk around like lawyer, you know what I mean? I don't give lawyer, and I don't tell people what I do because I want you to know who I am. Yesterday I dropped something on my, I was twerking on my Instagram yesterday because that's just how I felt like it. And one of my most recent episodes was just talking about how much we censor our own self just because we don't want people to think certain things. I'm everybody. I'm everything. You know, I'm not just one thing. I'm not one dimensional. And I'm very intentional about being me.
So, Boo, we talked about that, right? And I always go back to what I have in my ears. So, in the spaces that I've been in, right? You think of places like So I started in the city, right, as a teacher, then I was an assistant principal. But then after that, I went into pretty much predominantly white spaces. Like I was in Hastings, I was in Stony Point, and I was in Pelham. And it's like, there's a certain stigma when you walk in, fitted, hoodie, this, right? And it's like, oh, you're gonna interview with your earrings? And it's like, that's who I am.
I might.
So I'm going to, right? And because I want people to be like dumb enough to see me like, this guy don't know, look at him, right? But then I start spitting in a way that they're like, oh, wait.
And that's where the power is,
right?
Because you are teaching children. Yes. Like how, when you think about your favorite teacher, is the teacher that you resonated with the most.
Right.
The teacher who you felt like got you the most and has some level of understanding as to who you are, or even care to understand who you are. Kids are more apt to listen to that teacher. Hence, they will learn, right? So when you have someone, my son's favorite teacher was a male teacher because it's the only male teacher he had.
They're unicorns in elementary school.
Like I was there.
Yeah, exactly. You were there.
If you're a male teacher, and if you're in a district, you're a male teacher that looks like us. Kids, it's just natural.
Different.
Representation is important.
It's totally important.
They see us. They see an uncle. They see maybe an older brother. They see a cousin. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
You know how many times I get, you're no principal. You're not. There's no way. Yeah. How? I'm like, why? I love it because at first I used to like, oh, like it's cute. You say that, but then I used to get offended by it. It's like,
because they're thinking they're conditioned.
Why can't I be? Oh, I'm just used to like an older white woman being. And I was like, my principal didn't look like that when I was younger. I wish I had. I was like, well, it's a new day and age, and I am. Right?
And and that's one of the things that I kind of even going back to like the prosecutor's office, and talking about like reform and how I feel as though even in the police officers that they have policing our communities. Why not have the police officers from the community police the community? Right. They take police officers from Staten Island and Long Island to come and police the Bronx.
Oh my
Why?
God.
And treat everybody like criminals.
Yeah, and not only that, most of the time they're not from that type of environment
at all.
So they're scared to death.
They're scared. They're trigger happy, and that's what happens, and then they kind of hide behind the blue shield, but it's just a problem. Representation is important, and I think if people stop running away, and I don't know what the fear is for having us police us. What would be the fear? That we're going to be more lenient?
Right.
You know?
It's actually the opposite way because that's how we started. I mean, I grew up in a single household, single parent, and my mother was harsher than a lot of my friends' fathers.
Totally.
Because she had to be.
Had to be, of course.
You had to be. You know what I mean? Especially early on to set those building blocks.
Absolutely.
So, but I will say this. People fall victim to societal norms.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's getting better now. But as far as, you're not a principal, you look a certain way, this and that, those are societal norms where it's like, why? Why can't I be this? Why can't I be that? Like, because I look a certain way?
Yeah.
I look a certain way, I dress a certain way.
Yeah.
On Fridays,
are you really
I look just like this.
Yeah.
like I'm coming in.
He be ODing though. He be ODing like, yo, dude.
I keep pushing.
Keep pushing. I know. I do that too.
Pushing.
I do that too at work.
Because why not?
Yeah, I mean, there's some outfits that probably would be for more secular events that I try to make it professional,
Right.
Because you just want to incorporate some level of you in there. An attorney is a profession. It's not who you are.
Exactly.
And so there's no one particular look,
I feel like any title is like that.
Yeah,
that's
title.
Not who you are. That's your profession.
Exactly.
But that's not who you are 100%.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're like, if we get back to like the Kereen becoming a lawyer, right? Would you say your defining moment was the debate team? Like what really made you want to do that? And I wish I knew you were on a debate team because, I mean, I know you don't know me that well yet, but I do love winning an argument, and I would have had some kind of situation here so we can debate.
Here you go.
Live. But what was one of your?
I think what the debate team did for me really was to build my confidence and give me speech. And one of the things that I don't know, it's sort of, certain things just kind of came easy to, like the law was the vehicle for me to be able to do what I do best, you know, in a more effective way.
Right.
Because when I really think about it, the things that make me a great attorney are things that is just my innate skills of being able to connect with people, and having presence, you know. So I think law was just like a vehicle to kind of spread Kereen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hold on. What is one of the biggest things when you came to the States
Yes.
that you had to adapt to? That is the weather?
You know, honestly, I feel like America kind of made me a little lazy.
Yeah.
A little lazy. When I came here, educationally, Jamaica is more advanced.
Oh yeah.
In any other country.
They don't-
Yeah, so it's like, when I came here and they started me off in the 6th grade, and, they were like doing long divisions
Now, had you already done that?
in like the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I mean?
crazy.
Primary schools in other countries are no joke.
Yeah.
We're known for our universities and everything like that.
That's crazy.
So and then plus you're not a trouble. You don't give
Right,
any
right,
trouble in the
right,
class.
right.
You're getting A's just for being
Yeah.
there.
And by the way, you don't give no trouble in other countries. They don't play that
No, you
either.
get
They
your
don't-
ass whooped.
Yeah,
You
they
know
don't
what I'm
play that
saying?
either.
So here kids are like, back to
Yeah,
the teacher.
yeah.
And I'm just like, the hell is this?
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
culture shock was really more. And I think the educational system sort of allowed me to just kind of lean in on just like my innate smarts, or,
Yeah.
just like it just kind of, and it was really hard to break out of that, even now in my adulthood, because I feel like I could just kind of show up and just show out. You don't feel like you have to put so much work in it as much, I think it kind of instilled a little bit of laziness in me. To study, to do, I just kind of cram, and like if you can just cram and get a B plus. Like,
So
my
that's
mama's
one
cram,
of
you know?
that's one of the big stigmas with American people as opposed to foreigners. They don't like us. Why? Because they say
they
we're
say
lazy.
we're lazy.
We're Americanized. We're lazy. We have everything here, and we don't take advantage of. Da da da.
I think Caribbean people are Black people who are not Black Americans.
Right.
We need to give Black Americans a lot more grace than we do, because systematically we didn't face a lot of the challenges you guys did. And so it's sort of hard to take that out of context. And so we see it, because we're so driven, back home. I tell my kids this all the time, like, problem solving, these kids are lost on these kids. They don't know how to problem solve at all.
Right.
Everything's given to them. Everything is.
And I remember, like, in Jamaica, we have to study for a common entrance. So this is an exam that you have to take in order to get accepted into a high school. And so, I remember sitting there, and my teacher would put like a equation on the board at the end of the day. And it's just like, you can't leave the class to go home until you finish it. And if you don't finish it, then it might turn into licks, but it forces you to sit there and problem solve and to get it done, and with your own volition, Here, not so much, and then not only that, is like all the systematic racism stuff that you guys face here by virtue of, you're probably majority, but feel like minority. We didn't necessarily have to deal with that because we were a majority, and the majority of the people kind of look like us. So, like, even though there's colorism and all those things that happen in the Caribbean and, other
All
parts
over.
of the
That's
world
all
with
over,
Black
yeah.
people, it's not to the degree that you guys have to face. So, like, I can understand sometimes, like, that sense of defeativeness
Yeah.
that you guys have, where you just kind of like fall into complacency, because it's like, okay, the system is literally rigged against you.
Yep.
So to find motivation and drive is really hard. And so also connecting it back to the Kereen Connection and trying to inspire, to motivate, to connect your passion and find your why, and find that purpose, to kind of get that fire burning again, is very hard. And, even in adults now, you talk to them and they're struggling.
Yeah.
They're struggling to find that passion because you just feel beaten down by life,
Wow, that's some powerful stuff, Kereen. When we like wanted her on the show, I never knew it'd be this impactful. Like
Oh, thank you guys.
That was my idea, by the way.
I'll
Don't
give
let him
it-
gas you out. Don't let him gas you.
So as we like start to wind down, we're every day a better you, right? Like we're taking something and like that really made us do something better with. So can you talk about, because I'm sure in your experience, right, you probably have a case or two that you think back to, like something that maybe changed your mindset or made you look at something a different way and want to do something differently to better either yourself or the system at large. Would you be able to think about something like that and speak to it a little bit?
Honestly, it's not even like a case or a one event. It was just sort of like, seeing the trajectory of where we are heading as a civilization. It's really disheartening. And I think it's really because we're not intentional about our connection, our human connection with each other. I think if everyone just play their own part in trying to reach someone, in trying to give everybody a blank slate, in trying to find that level of connection that you have, it makes hard conversations that much easier. And I think, not only in just on that sort of human level and us, how we interact with each other, but also to just be able to, be passionate about your individuality and being passionate about imparting, finding the purpose of it, which is, I'm always like, the purpose is the giving away of the talents and the wisdom and the knowledge. Find purpose in that, in touching somebody else's life. So I'm very intentional about that at this phase in my life. And whatever avenue that brings me through the Kereen Connection, one of the things that I want to do, like you said, one of the things I really love about my job currently with the Department of Education is that I can really help these principals who are going through it.
Oh, what?
They are going through it. I mean, a lot of times they're really battling the parents more than they're battling the issues between the children, right? They make it such a bigger political divisiveness. That's, being able to kind of bring it back in and say, listen, and bring back the fairness in it, bring back the equality, like the public policy aspect of it, of just doing the right thing. Being a lot of my job, even though I'm legal counsel, you'll be surprised how much of it, I mean, it's embedded in some legality, but it's really just common sense and just just humanness. Just showing a human element to every scenario in the perspective and the way in which you look at it. So being able to, take my principles out of this sort of like emotional disarray that, them being bombarded by, social media and and everything blows up so fast and escalates so fast. One little thing, everybody's on the email chain. The chancellor, the this, and the New York Post just runs with everything, and everything just kind of get blown out of proportion that the kids are being forgotten. Nobody think about what's actually happening with the kids. I have a case, cases where, something inappropriate may happen between two kindergartners. You're talking about 5-year-olds.
Yep.
Yeah, and it gets blown up. Like,
And the charged language that's being used, sexual predator, sexual assault, just because they're curious about their own bodies.
Yeah.
They want to take it to the media, and now they're harassing other parents and drumming up rumors in the school and getting everybody on their side and ostracizing a family. And what's happening to the child?
Bro,
they have to walk
PTSD.
into the
I'm like,
What's happening to the child that's walking into a building and having adults look at them with such adult disdain?
Yeah, which is why I always say, there's black and white and there's gray. And I think as an administrator, there has to be room for a gray area.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm back in school for my doctorate, right? So I just did a presentation on in class on the zero tolerance policy and why it's terrible. Right, and that to your point,
it doesn't take context of anything. What do you mean zero tolerance? What does that mean?
The worst thing that could ever have happened, and there's all the studies that disprove zero tolerance, and that's totally to your point that there has to be a gray area because we're talking about our babies here.
And that zero tolerance is not being applied equally either.
Nope.
It's zero tolerance for some,
no, it is not.
And compassion and understanding and grace for others.
Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
wow. That was
That
great.
got a good one. I think we got a
you
good
got a
one.
really good one, and that leads us into our gym. You know, the Kereen Connection. So I'm thinking about something about just trying to connect with someone, right?
Yes.
And it could be a rando, or it could be someone
you
that
know. Someone
that
but
you
make
lost.
that-
Maybe it's someone you lost contact with, and it's like because this I'm telling you right now, this has inspired me. I have a couple of people that I'm thinking about because we talked before the show, and we are talking like I was talking about how like I just write people off, right? Like
Yeah.
I hate
You're
people.
pretty good at that.
Right.
You're pretty good at that.
I'm gonna go back to maybe one of those people that I thought about writing off or that I have written off,
And think about the gray area.
right.
You
Exactly.
can't just write people off. Think
right.
about the gray area.
I got to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the things, one of my episodes as well, talking about making the connection or finding purpose in the connection. A lot of my friends are my friends from like junior high school. Like my friends are, and
they're
I'm
not
very
new. I have
intentional
no
about
one
the
from there.
connections
I'm
in
the
my
same-
life.
I'm the same way.
Even with my exes, I'm like, they can call me if they have any
Right.
issues. I'm like very intentional about maintaining relationships because people offer so much value.
Yeah.
And because whatever the intentions were for the specific intention you have for that relationship in that moment in time didn't necessarily work out, doesn't mean that person doesn't serve a very different, important purpose, maybe in another season in your life. So sometimes when you even think about someone, you're like, man, I wonder how that person's doing. Call them. Because there may be a reason why the universe is bringing them to you.
That's a good one, but that's
It
tough
is.
for me.
Totally.
I know.
That's
But I'm gonna do it.
tough.
And
You gonna
you
do it?
probably know who I'm gonna call.
I
'cause,
definitely know that,
You
but-
know who I'm gonna call. Like you
that's
probably
tough
know
for me.
2 or 3 people who I'm gonna call.
Yeah.
There's no accidents, man. Like
Yeah,
they said,
right.
coincidence is God's way of
It
being
is.
staying
Yeah.
silent. When you think of a person, there might be a very, very intentional, purposeful reason why you're thinking about them and why you guys need to now cross paths
Yep.
again.
Yeah.
So
No.
think about that.
I'm gonna do it. Connection, baby.
I gotta do it too if you're doing it. I
No,
gotta
bro.
do it
I'm
too.
gonna hold. Boo,
Do it too.
you know I'm gonna
That's
hold you
tough,
to it.
I know. She said, "Call them back." It's
Right.
Yeah,
no,
man.
You
or
gotta
keep
do
the
it.
channel open, and just, in social media, it's so easy. Like, how are you? Everything okay? Cross my mind. And you never know where that might spark. I told a story about, my best friend from she wasn't even my best friend, like one of my acquaintances from high school. I thought about her, she just came back into my life in another season and come to find out she's also in law school at the same time. We didn't even think
That's
about.
yeah.
And that was our connection. And she was able to be like a very, good motivating force in me to be like, oh, I have somebody like-minded, somebody who I knew from the past who's going through the same things. We can, so many reasons to make the connection.
Kereen, you just opened up a whole new
You
avenue.
did.
I'm glad.
You made us better.
Yeah.
You've made us
Yeah.
better people.
Every day better you, baby.
Yay!
The
That's
Phoenix.
awesome.
We still got to talk about that. The Phoenix. We'll talk next episode. We'll go into that, or we'll do. We gotta. We haven't done.
What?
Boo. The little segment that we started.
Questions, Q&A from the.
Either the Q&A or remember the Chronicles.
Oh,
we only
yes,
did
yes,
one.
yes. Okay, we got to get it back on. She
Messing up,
reminded
bro.
us.
Yeah.
I'm
see?
taking notes over here.
Yeah,
Y'all
man.
are giving me some good pointers for my
Yeah,
shows.
man.
It is awesome.
We try.
We try,
You guys
but
are
we
good.
got to try harder because we started the Chronicles and made the graphic
We
and
did,
everything, and
yeah.
we did one. Boo.
All right, we'll keep going.
It's your fault.
Actually,
Anyway.
you guys should interchange your sign between the one that you guys have on the YouTube. I love that with the both of you, like holding up the world.
We
I
have
love
to get that. We have
gotta
to
get
get
a
it
physical-
made.
a physical
Yeah,
one
we
of
don't
that.
have a canvas of it, but we can make a canvas of it. But I
Yeah,
want to clean.
love
I want to
that.
clean that one up anyway because it has me there with like no facial hair. Right? People like, who is that person? Like we can know which one is Boo because the bald head.
Here we go.
But,
You always gotta-
right? But they're like, who's that other person? Like, there's no facial hair. I look like a little boy, like pointing up. So I gotta clean that one up.
We could.
But
work
yeah,
on
so
that.
that's the Gym of the Week connections, man. Like I love
make
that.
that connection.
Make the connection.
Kareen, we appreciate you. Thank you
Yes.
so
Welcome.
so
It's
much.
my pleasure.
This
I
was-
We'll come on
enjoyed
your
it.
show.
Yes,
we
for
coming
sure.
through. This
She's
is
big time,
fantastic.
though.
Yeah,
She's
she's
big
big
time.
time. I know,
Big
man.
time.
Damn,
Not
yo,
even.
she,
Never too big
man, I'm gonna
at
pick
all.
her brain a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Kereen, we appreciate you. This was such an
Yes.
eye-opening episode. Thank you
It's
so
my
so
pleasure.
much.
I love the show. I'm a big fan.
Oh man, and that about wraps it up. Real stories,
Real results.
every day a better you. Make it a great one.